Good morning, everybody, and this is your Dow Jones day trade setups for today. So Friday was a pretty strong, solid day, and if you look at the weekly here, it does look like we formed some form of a tweezer bottom. Obviously, we need to break above the high of the week for that to be validated. And if we just look at how the dailies closed out, you can see pretty strong bounce off the 155 EMA on the daily, and then on Friday yet another one, and that's a massive bullish bar there. So right now, we've got a little bit of a, let's not call it a gap down, but we've got a little bit of a move down based on what's happening in China. And what I want to do is just highlight a few things here. The first thing is this trend line. This trend line here. So you can see that's pretty much intact at the moment. So that's the first thing I want to highlight. And then the second thing that I do want to highlight is where we are right now. So I'm just going to pick up these tails, but if I move to the left, have a look at was used as sort of a resistance, and it was used as support, but quite a bit of resistance. So it's used for almost 2 weeks as resistance, and then used as support, rejected, and we failed. Then we tried to use it as support again, use it as resistance there, then we use it as support here, then we basically broke below it. So we haven't really come back to find support on this level, and that level is basically 34,140. So look at your oscillators, they have crossed over and they are pointing up. This does look like a bit of a piercing pattern. Nothing you can really read into it just yet. The trend is down, that we know, on the 8 hour, definitely below all the moving averages, so the trend is down. So what we're expecting is a bit of volatility until we get above that for continuations to the upside. So for me at the moment, if we switch to the 3 hour, this was a pretty solid move off the bottom, and we had some fairly decent structure here. So we had inside bar, then we had an engulfing bar, then we had a massive engulfing bar there on the 3 hour. So that's fairly fairly bullish pattern that we had. Looks like a bit of a double bottom. And remember, on the weekly, it looks like a tweezer bottom. So that's kind of the bottom of the 2 weeks. Remember, between these dotted lines is a week. So that's first week, second week. And we are below the moving averages at the moment. But I don't see, I'm not too confident that this is going to continue to the downside. What I would expect is a higher low to be forming today. If it does move to the downside, I don't suspect it's going to break below the lows here. And you can see on the hour there was an area here, and that's that level that I drew in. You can see there was a lot of rejection happening, and then going into close, we pushed above it. And that's a telling sign, especially on a sort of on a Friday before a weekend. So this is what we're looking for, and it's 34,140. It may not be an exact science, so you can basically just line up. As you can see, there's a bit of structure there with all these tails here. So it's between 34,140 and 33,984. You're looking for price action in this area to indicate a move to the upside. Pay attention to the moving averages at the moment. So the trend is down right now. It's not a solid trend. I'm not entirely convinced of the trend. So I'm looking for structure, and the structure I'm looking for is to buy off. I'm anticipating a break of this trend line and move to the upside. We do have earnings season that should kick off pretty soon. And I think what we do have here is we've got investors that are just rebalancing and realigning for the last quarter. And they're going to be looking to push this thing for the last quarter. I think that's kind of the view that I've got at the moment. Once we hit the end of the year, then I think we have some things to think about. But there are some measured move targets to the upside based on the longer time frames. So I do believe that's what we should be looking for. Okay, so for me today, it's probably a 15-minute chart trade on this and waiting for structure. So you can see the structure on the 15-minute very clearly. Each one of these tails here are potentially going to offer opportunities to buy off. Look at the moving averages crossover. So they're pretty much, all three have crossed over now. We haven't tested the 155. The 155 is right down here at 34,140. So any pullback into this area, I'm looking for the structure, and the structure I'm looking for is pin bars, inside bars, and engulfing bars. I need to see those on the level and then I'm looking for an opportunity to buy into it and potentially take some off at around 34,400. We break 34,400, then I'm looking for the continuation up and then a pullback where I can buy back into it. So that's kind of my view at the moment. Any move to the downside, I'm going to treat with a little bit of caution based on what we saw on Friday. So I'm really just looking for structure and opportunity to buy off the structure. Okay, anyway, that's also your last thing for me. It was almost the last thing, but I just spotted something. And shoulder, head, shoulder, neckline. That's a break of the head and shoulders. There it is there. So there is my head and shoulders pattern. Move that to the upside. Should be a break. You should have an opportunity to hit 34,700 area. And let's just see if we can see what that lines up with. Not much structure. Oh, there is quite a bit of structure there. If you look on the 8 hours, so you can see there's quite a bit of structure there. So that's kind of the head and shoulders break, looking for a move to 34,700 area. That's kind of the view that I've got at the moment. Anyway, hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.